Today we're talking about a way to turn your pre-tax retirement money into tax-free income for the rest of your life. It's called a Roth conversion, and when done strategically, it can be one of the most powerful tools in a financial plan. But it's not for everyone, and timing and planning are key. Hi, I'm Alan Michelle, a financial advisor helping high-earning professionals and retirees make smarter tax and investment decisions. Today we're breaking down the what, why, and how of Roth conversions so you can decide if this strategy might make sense for you. A Roth conversion is whenever you move money from a pre-tax account, like a traditional IRA or a 401k, into a Roth IRA. You'll pay taxes on the amount you convert this year, but from then on, your money grows tax-free, and withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free, provided certain conditions are met. Think of it as paying a one-time tax bill now to potentially eliminate many future tax bills later. So outside of reducing future taxes, Roth conversions can unlock several key advantages. One of those would be tax diversification. Having both pre-tax and Roth assets gives you more flexibility to manage how much taxable income you declare each year in retirement. It will also reduce future RMDs, or required minimum distributions. Converting traditional IRA funds now means fewer forced withdrawals later and more control over your assets. Estate planning. Your heirs won't have to pay income tax on the inheritance the way they would with an inherited traditional IRA. So, when might it make sense to convert? Anytime your tax rate now is lower than what you expect it to be in the future, Roth conversions can be a win. Some examples of this would include early retirement. So before Social Security and required minimum distributions kick in, you may have a few low-income years, which would be a prime window for Roth conversions. Periods of unemployment. So obviously due to unemployment, your taxable income would be lower, and it can be a great time to convert. But it's not all upside, so there are a few key considerations to make before doing a Roth conversion. The conversion amount is taxable income in the year in which it's done, which could push you into a higher tax bracket. You'll need cash outside of your IRA to pay the taxes, so you don't want to dip into the IRA to pay those taxes. In order to maximize your benefits, consider these strategies. Partial Roth IRA conversions. Spread them out over several years to stay in lower tax brackets. Filling up a certain tax bracket, which we'll see in the case studies next. Convert just enough to stay within your target tax rate. Coordinating with income or deductions. So do conversions in years in which you have lower earnings or higher write-offs. Converting during market downturns. That's going to let you move more shares at a time. So now let's get into some brief cases.
First example we're going to walk through is going to be the Miller family. For the sake of simplicity, let's assume they have $2 million in a qualified retirement plan, so either a traditional IRA or their 401ks, and they have $400,000 in a brokerage account. This can be used to supplement their lifestyle or to take withdrawals from. They are 64 years old. They're going to turn 65 at the beginning of next year, and then they're going to file for Social Security at age 67 in 2028. So here we can see how that looks. So whenever we go ahead and look at their reports, we're going to look at their income tax report. And here we can see that they're paying very low income tax over the next few years as they discontinue work, and they're not yet filing for Social Security. They're really just taking some withdrawals from their IRA to supplement their lifestyle. So if we compare that plan to doing some Roth conversions, and I'll go through how we're deciding to do the Roth conversions, what amount, in a little bit here, but we can just see how that reflects on the right side here, where that amount that they're paying in tax really just levels off and gets less and less as they go later through life. So we can see that they're paying more in tax over the next few years and then much less in tax later on, and ultimately decreasing, based on these projections, the amount of tax that they pay over their lifetime. So let's quickly view this another way. So if we go into Decision Center here, we're going to look at their tax bracket report. So the plan for the Millers here, and again, we can see what their base scenario would look like, where they're going to be working in 2025, and then they're going to retire. And you can see, again, not paying a lot in taxes. So the way these tax brackets work is anything prior to that purple line is going to be 0%. So think about your standard deduction where you're at a zero income effective, and then anything over between that purple line and the green line is going to be taxed at 10%. Between the green line and the orange line is going to be taxed at 12%. The orange line and the blue line, 22%. Blue line to green line, 24%. Over the green line is going to be 32%. So here we can see how that looks for them. But if we were to run Roth conversions, and we're just going to keep things relatively simple here and fill up that 12% tax bracket. So what we're doing here is we're effectively locking their tax rate in at 12%. So on that money that gets converted, they're not going to have to pay taxes in the future. The highest tax rate they pay there is 12%. What that's doing is that's preventing the amount of money in the future that is going to be spilling over into that 22% tax bracket. So here we can see with this scenario, assuming all of these assumptions hold valid into the future, that's going to save them a little over $59,000 in cumulative taxes over their lifetime. And because of those taxes and because of that tax-free growth, that is going to add to their portfolio value throughout their lifetime. The other thing worth noting here that is important with spouses and is a little bit morbid to talk about, but whenever one spouse dies, unfortunately, the other spouse will now have to file as single, which will decrease their standard deduction. And that will push more of their income into the next tax bracket. And we'll see that whenever one spouse dies, their expenses don't always decrease accordingly. So, assuming the expenses stay about the same, we can see that one spouse predeceases the other, and there's more tax at that 22% tax rate, which again shows the importance of moving money over into Roth and decreasing the amount that you have to pay in tax later and increasing that flexibility. Next example we're going to look at is Sarah. So Sarah is 45. She's planning on taking a year off from work to travel and see the world, so she's got some money in savings, and she wants to do it now before she's a little bit older. So we can see here on her net worth tab that Sarah has done a good job saving. She has a little over $1 million in assets. She's got a savings account and a brokerage account that can cover her for the next year and also cover some taxes on Roth conversions. She also has a traditional IRA with $750,000, of which she's looking to move some into Roth. So if we look at her income tab, again, she's making money this year. She's taking 2026 off, resuming work in 2027. So if we go ahead and look at her tax plan, so actually, I'll go ahead and look at her income tax report here first. So if we do her base fact scenario in which no Roth conversions are done, and then compare that to a scenario in which Roth conversions are done, we're only doing a very small Roth conversion in that year 2026. We can see that she's paying $5,700 in federal income tax to do that tax return and fill up that 15% tax bracket with these assumptions in place, as opposed to not paying any federal tax. And what we see, if you look on the right here, is these blue lines of regular federal income tax are smaller over time than they are on the baseline scenario. So all we're doing here, and again, there's more financial planning that we could do with Sarah, but for the sake of simplicity, all we're doing is we're doing a small Roth conversion in 1 year and just showing the impact that can have on her taxes down the line. So even just that little bit of money in Roth is going to decrease the amount that she's projected to have to pay in taxes long term. And then again, if we show her her decision center tax bracket report, we can just see that broken out a different way here. So if we view her tax bracket, so without Roth conversions, we can see that Sarah's not paying any federal income tax in 2026. And then we can see whenever she retires. So there's not much we can do about her tax brackets, in the years that she's working, obviously, outside of contributing to her, her employer 401k or traditional IRA. But whenever she's retired, you can see how much money she's paying into that 24% effective tax bracket. And then if we just flip on Roth conversions for that 1 year, we can see again, we're just paying a little bit of tax that 1 year. And then there's just less money throughout time that is going to be in that 24% effective tax bracket. We can see that on this, the assumptions that we're running here, that's going to save her a significant amount of money in cumulative taxes and preserve a fair amount of assets just by doing this simple conversion in the 1 year that Sarah is off from work.
As we've seen, Roth conversions can be a real game changer for retirement, but they work best when coordinated with your broader tax and income plan. If you want help determining whether Roth conversions fit your strategy, feel free to reach out. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more financial planning insights. And drop a comment with your questions below. You can also find a link to sign up for our monthly newsletter in the video description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.